If you can support pressure from other people, probably this type of environment will have a significant impact on you.
What made your learning slower?
The first time from my entire startup experience, when I experienced a slower learning process, was in the
What effect did mentors had on your learning journey?
I try to have different mentors on the way, and I failed miserably to choosing better mentors for me.
Who was it? Andrew Tate? Hi, this is Adrian, and I'm a bootstrap founder.
Hi, this is Adrian, and I'm a VC-backed founder.
And this is
Two
Two Adrians Entered a Startup. Or walked in a startup. Well, doesn't matter. Entered or walked, maybe running. It doesn't really matter because we are both startup founders.
Yeah.
And today, what we're going to talk about is learning. I'm going to start with this. Do you actually enjoy learning?
Yeah, I'm enjoying learning, and I enjoy learning because it's a way that make me to feel alive.
Alive because how painful learning is.
Yeah.
So, what we want to talk about is, first of all, a bit of philosophical question, like how learning is changing you as a person, right? Like, oh, now I'm a startup founder, I deal learning differently than something like that. But also like how you learn, because I think people underestimate how hard it is to learn well and what is optimal learning. Because yeah, sure, maybe at school or university you figure out how to learn, like how to pass the exam with minimal effort, which is, I think, a useful skill, I could say. But you realize that learning is actually overcoming inner challenges in yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start this journey of learning, the mountain of pain, by asking you, what changed, or how did learning change when you became a founder?
One of the most important thing that change is, let's say, the speed. Learning before being a founder was a process, but was a process more in a slow or more natural, usual way. Being a founder forced me to enter in a fast way learning, and forced me to enter in a fast way learning because I'm a VC-backed founders, and VCs always pressure you to make more money, to acquire more customers, to grow your business as fast as possible.
How do they pressure you? Sorry for a segue.
Pressure you asking again and again and again and again how the sales increase this week.
So is it more nagging than actual?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. But back to So
Yeah.
we see pressuring you, and we're talking about learning. Yeah.
Yeah. And being in a environment when you feel constant pressure, and from my perspective also, I identify a lot with the success or unsuccess of the business. Also add an extra layer of pressure on top of that for me to have a fast process of learning. So the main thing that change is the how fast and the speed of learning.
Well, if I would be a listener and like, okay, good, how do I learn quicker, etc., and you're saying, well, just have a VC to nag you every day, or just pay someone, like pay David Goggins and be like, you know, like, wake up, motherfucker, it's 4 a.m., let's go to run, do 20 cold sets. Like, that's like, this typical hustler mentality, right? Like, you have to do it, bro, for your family, I don't know, yeah?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't, for me, it looks like it's not healthy, right? A bit like this, like toxic relationship. It's like, I'm never good enough for my mother. Like, I'm doing everything and she's not loving me. Like, you do more and more and she's never enough. So, I mean, it's useful, but I guess a person who's like, I have a 9-to-5 job. It's comfortable. I do a bit of, like startup on the side. They don't have pressure. and they're not gonna learn quickly. So
Yeah,
do you really
it's
need pressure? That's the question.
well, I don't have the answer for that, but it really depends on how are you as a person. If you can support pressure from other people, probably this type of environment will have a significant impact on you. For example, on my case, the pressure was okay at the beginning, okay for the first year, okay for the first chapter of building the startup, but right now I start to feel the side effect of the pressure because I feel drain of energy. I'm feeling sometimes lazy. I'm sometimes it's hard for me to concentrate or do stuff.
I like how you saying that you're lazy. I'm not like I'm motherfucking depressed. I am like done with life. No, I'm just lazy.
Yeah, yeah.
You never overcame that. I mean, I understand. I can relate to everything you're saying. I'm joking around. So, listener, just be clear. What he's experiencing, I think what I'm experiencing is the same. And I think a lot of founders also is just this constant pressure
Mhm.
and like, I'm never good enough. And then even if you have no investors and nobody around you,
Yeah, for
you're
you.
pressuring yourself. You're becoming that negative, like that person, like whipping yourself, like go to work. Oh, you watched YouTube for 10 minutes. Bad boy.
Yeah. And what about you? What changed for you? Because in your case, you are a bootstrap founder, different for me. So basically, you don't have funds, you don't have VC, so you don't have a certain amount of money in the bank to sustain your learning experiments or something like that. So basically, you have to live by paycheck.
Which is a very good motivator, right? It's it's preparing me anyway to live paycheck by paycheck. I think it's a good exercise
Mhm.
because as the economy is getting worse and we're gonna have like middle class is disappearing, and I don't see a way that I'll be part of the upper elite class.
Mhm.
Then I'll be part of the permanent underclass.
Mhm.
And the permanent underclass, by definition, would be living paycheck by paycheck. You see it as a bad thing, like, oh, you're motivated, but I'm learning a new skill, Adrian.
Mhm.
I'm ready to be a poor person, a
Mhm.
very poor person, and
Mhm.
so it's not a disadvantage. I'm learning a skill. See, learning.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, yes. So the thing is, some people like go for they when you hear like bootstrap founder success stories,
Mhm.
I can categorize them in three stories. First one is the person saved money. I don't know. They worked for several years and got themselves some emergency fund for 6 maybe to 1 year, and they say like, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna try to do my own business.
Mhm.
Some of them succeed within the first month. Some of them, they've been playing around startup, and then near the end, they actually make it. And
Mhm.
those who never make, we barely hear of them because nobody likes to brag about failure. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I spent a 6 month and I did nothing. Woohoo! Like nobody's gonna tell you that. But if you ask around and talk people who started businesses, that's what you're gonna hear, right? They're playing startup. This is interesting because, like, see, the less money they have,
Mhm.
the faster they're working, the pressure, right? So I
Yeah.
think you need some pressure.
Of course.
Yeah. Now, to your initial question, how was it for me, etc. In the beginning, I guess I can share your sentiment. Whipping me, because the thing is, I didn't have VC, but I had I had my bank statement, and I was when I was going to make a shower, I made sure it was cold. I took the whip in the shower and
Mhm.
backslash my back and say like, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, right? But the thing is that over time, I changed my relationship with, let's say, stress, pressure, and also how I deal with learning. Because if it's too much pressure, you are in flight and fight mode, and you're
Mhm.
not really learning, you're really
Yeah.
reacting. And when you react, you're not, because, okay, I get it. You need to find some kind of product market fit, like some kind of, you need to get your first customers. You need, like, these initial steps are essentials. And if you don't have this, then there's no discussion to be done. Like, the steps are obvious. Just do more sales, try to learn, like not learn, but like, yeah, it's learning. Understand the bet in the market. And that's by taking action a lot. But eventually, your actions don't reflect in the numbers anymore, because once you get like what took you to one customer to 100 customers is not the same to 100 and 1000. So when you're at that point where you go and should go for 100 to 1000 customers, you go more strategic. Because sure, you can do the same things ever like as before, but they're not so effective because there's not necessarily going to scale more. So you're going to have to think broader. You're going to be like that manager who talks about synergies, processes, and all that stuff, right? You're going to sound boring to your friends, but that's actually the things which you're going to require to get to the next level. Now, I'm going to go back to the segue, which I said there are three types of founders, success stories. And the first one I said, like, they take some money, they work, try to make it work, and then, they fail or win. The second one is the one which I identify, and is some bootstrap founders, they don't quit their job. They maybe reduce the amount of hours they work. They maybe still have a full-time job, but the weekends dedicated, something like that.
Yeah, so basically they treat the startup like a side project.
Exactly. And that's the way same I did it. I had a part-time job, so I made sure that was not working full-time. And the reason is because not that I could not do it while having a full-time job, but I realized that I will be creatively drained, because I don't want to see after 8 hours of work the same coding interface again. So I thought, okay, maybe it's better and healthier to do it part-time. And it was a good decision. The learning, I still felt the same pressures like you, because I have to hurry up, when we're not playing here, we're going to have to build a business. But eventually that led to my first burnout, which I think I talked in episode 3 or 2. And that was not healthy. So how I treat learning is understanding myself, why I'm not learning. And this brings me to the second question, Adrian. What made your learning slower?
Well, I think the first time from my entire startup experience when I experienced a slower learning process was in the maybe last year. And what changed in the last year was something fundamentally different from my previous years, and this thing was facing bankruptcy. So basically, I know I had 2 months or 1 month of cash in the bank. I have to solve this problem, and entering in this way of leading the business or managing the business add on me an extra layer of pressure, which sometimes force me to enter in a way that I just only react on things around me. So basically wasn't more about a learning process, was more about solving a really bad situation as fast as possible. Doesn't matter really how we solve the problem, but I knew I had to solve this problem, because at the end of 1 or 2 months of cash in the bank, everything will be end.
So if I would, please correct me if I oversimplified it, but my understanding is that you got used with your current pressure, and therefore the learning stopped because you didn't change your approach to learning per se, but the pressure you could handle. Therefore, you restored to your default state. And once you're default state, when another extra pressure came, you could learn again because you felt more pressure that you could not was new to you, and you were back to your initial learning state.
Yeah. Because it was a feeling like you have to survive. So you don't have a backup plan. you don't have, I don't know, extra savings accounts, money, or something like that. So you have to survive.
Well, this is depressing because it's like we're trying to promote healthy learning, Adrian. Healthy eating, healthy learning, and what
Yeah.
we're saying is David Goggins was right, basically.
Yeah, but this is the reality, and this is a certain possibility that you can face entering this way of building a startup. And I think it's the same for being a VC-backed founder or a bootstrap founder. You can arrive in the same situations.
I want to go slightly dig deeper on this. So the reason, or humanity is complex,
Mm-hmm.
but the one of the reason why learning sometimes is hard is because it's not that what you're trying to do is hard per se, but you have mental blockages which don't allow you to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One example, just one example. Let's say you're an introvert and you don't like public speaking, and you know that you need to go to random pitch events, startup events, whatever, to find maybe funding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what can happen is that you as a company, you will fail to raise money because you are too scared to actually go in the front of a stage and present your idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you hope that through the pressure, maybe you actually do it, right? It's like, oh, I will never start a startup because I won't have money, so I'm gonna have to, push myself and change myself. So the thing is, what I'm trying to say here is the reason why you're sometimes not learning is not because you don't know what you have to learn or what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you have something in your personality which is not compatible for success.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's overcoming those blockages, right? So and I think we talked about, I think in episode 1 already, that becoming an entrepreneur is not about building a business only. The side effect is actually it's a personal development journey as well, because you have to change as a person in order to succeed. And most of the things you change are actually healthy, right? Like fear itself, it can be good,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of the fears we have in the real world are just illusions, right? They're not real fears. I mean, we perceive them as real, but they're not. There's nothing bad if you will fail in those cases. And I think it's the big part of how, if now we're switching here in the topic, in order to learn faster, is really identifying. And I think I'm talking about from my personal experience, is that sometimes when I feel blocked, and pressure hasn't changed, it's just I feel blocked, I really affect what am I avoiding?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who am I running away from? And those moments let me to find the next step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I experience something like that. For me, I'm an introvert person, so talking with people, it's kind of difficult. And I experience and uh, this type of feeling when I have to sell and talk with people and make phone calls or make follow-ups on the people to try to sell my product. And for me, this type of job, it's really difficult because I'm introvert person and I don't like to call people and follow up about the status of our contract or something like that. So I was, and I'm still blocked sometimes, but this by this type of characteristic in my personality uh, in the beginning of the business was more prominent, more high level of blockage for myself. Right now, I try and I something corrected, and sometimes I learn how to manage the state and get over the blocker. But yeah, I experience this type of feeling when learning how to sell better. was blocked by this my personality type of being an introvert person.
Like, for example, from all the sales channels you could have, let's say one is like, let's say, cold outreach by phone, it could maybe work. I'm not sure about your story of your business, if that's the case, but let's say,
Yeah.
calling is definitely would work for your type of businesses, but you avoid it. You just email outreach because it was less.
It's incompatible with my personality.
Yeah. Now, for the person who's starting out and they don't want to cut their bridges, they don't want to go. What was this term? I forgot. YOLO, right?
Yeah.
like I'll cut my bridges. I think now. So they want to learn and they don't want to have the pressure. Do you, first of all, experience learning in your business without the pressure?
No.
No. Okay. Well, I can share that at least. Then I will share my
Do you
opinion.
experience?
Yes.
When?
So now, because I'm more aware of like the reason why I'm not learning fast is not because I don't know what book to read or what like, it's not the learning information which is missing. It's more like the internal blockages. I treat it more healthy because I don't need to be annoyed to myself. Why I'm moving slow? It's no, I have some blockages inside myself. I have to self-reflect and see how I can overcome them and actually go to the source. So it's more like personal development than rather, why I'm learning slow, right? But if you're starting out, there's one more type of learning we haven't talked about. It can be that you have no clue. How do you start a business? There's so much content. And to be honest, none of the content, like when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I consumed books, I consumed videos, etc. And nothing really strongly resonated for me. And I think this is me trying to say to the people that if you're like, I'm in the ideation phase, and I'm like, for example, I don't want to necessarily start a business, but I want to become a better marketeer because I never did marketing in my life. I'm like, software developer and I want to do some marketing, whatever it might be. I think you need to find some way to pressure yourself to learn it. And the best way to do it is to have a project. So let's say you don't know what idea to do. Just pick one idea. Just do like action. Just do an action. Because what happens is that when you're like lost in this like reading too much content, read too much books, etc., you do mental masturbation. And once you're there, you're I would call it learning gooning. So in order to escape that is you have to just get out of the room and do something. One project. And by that, you realize that a lot of the things you learn maybe you can apply, but also your focus is what's my next step? Well, I have to build maybe a MVP. Okay, fine. All of your questions are very focused and more narrowed in your next step. And then you identify while doing this, you realize what is your mental blockages in that moment. So for example, if you're a developer and like, I want to do a startup, what's your first instinct? Who's my customer? What marketing channel I use? No. It's like, how do I build my app? What framework should I use? Right? All of those.
How many features I have to build?
Exactly. How many features instead of actually thinking, okay, what is the essentials? So if you're beginning, really identify those things. What are you feared of? Because most likely that is why you're learning slow.
Yeah, and of course, it helps you to read books or watch courses or read something online. Of course, it helps, but it helps until a certain point. For example, in my case, I loved to read business books, but after few business books, what I observe, and I don't know if it's general variable but I think it's the main idea, it's the same. What I observed is the principles promoted by those books started to repeat. So after reading a certain number of books, you observe that the principles you already know, you already read about that in, I don't know, previous book or something like that. But sometimes can help you taking specific action on specific pain points, on specific blocker, on specific needs that you have. For example, in my case, first time I tried to raise money when in 2020, after 6 months of starting our startup, and I failed and I failed and I failed again and again to raise money because I don't understand how VC works. I don't understand how to pitch and how to position my startup in a VC discussion. And what I did was to take a course about how VC works, how to pitch, how to structure your pitching, look at the example of other pitch decks from companies that raised, and that was at the same level as me, because this is important to learn from the people that was at the same level with you, in a period not far from what is today.
Speaking of that, that's a perfect segue to what effect did mentors had on your learning journey?
Well, I try to have different mentors on the way, and I failed miserably to choosing better mentors for me.
Who was it? Andrew Tate?
Yeah. And I failed because I didn't understand this principle. You have to learn from someone that is 1 or 2 level ahead of you. Not by someone that was in your place, I don't know, 5-10 years ago.
Back in my days, we had businesses and we didn't use internet. We were just part of the communistic party, and we got the contract.
Yeah, and basically, I think the mentor that from what I learned raising money at the beginning of the startup was the single success that I had, because this person was really appropriate in the journey with me.
Mm-hmm. I get it. Okay. For me, mentoring, I think I mentioned this. Now I can't remember which episode, but I was part of this club called Ramen Club.
Yeah.
And basically, I really didn't have mentors, but I had at least people, as you said, at your level or maybe 1 or 2 level above you. And I think that also helps, to get divergent thinking going on, because maybe you're too stuck in one thing and you just don't know. I think those can help as well.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't mention any books now. We just talked about maybe slightly abstract about learning. And the reason is because you don't need us to find what book to read next. Like, it doesn't matter. Because if you just Google if you know what's your next step, you just ask ChatGPT and will tell you, this is the book. Maybe even ChatGPT will give you the answer. It's just about not wasting much time to take action. That's all it is in the end of the day. Because you're avoiding something an action which is very uncomfortable, whatever it might be. And it just identifying that, because you lie to yourself so easily that you forget it. And once you identify, you can take action. If you really want mental masturbation on this topic, there is one book. And I remember reading this, I think 10 years ago. Now, Stephen Pressfield, he has multiple books. The two which kind of talk about this topic is The War of Art. There's another one, I think, called Turning Pro. I don't know, I kind of was boring. I guess the War of Art was very enough. And it's like, look, I'm confusing which book is which book, because as I mentioned, it was 10 years ago. But it's like, look, he says okay, you want to become pro in something. Good. Take 2-3 books on that topic first. Not more. Take action. That's basically it, if I would sum it up. Horrible summary of the book. But it's like, if you want to read the book on this particular topic, the War of Art will tell you how to approach this process, because it's a creative process somehow, business making. That's why I think the book is very relevant. But yeah, just don't spend too much time dwelling, getting information, because it's enough. Focus on action, nothing new in our case, what we're saying. But I hope you can relate more on the emotional journey of learning. Any final words you want to say to our listeners?
In terms of which book I recommend?
Yes, that's also fine.
In my case, on this journey of VC-backed founders, it's one book that came in my mind, and it's called Hard Things About Hard Things. And I think it's a good book for a VC-backed founder. I don't know about a bootstrap
No,
founder.
I've read that book. I would say it was kind of useless for me.
Yeah, for a
because it was
bootstrap.
dealing more with people within your organization,
With people, with sales process, with managing your investors' expectation and something like that.
The worst case is like by my bipolar personality. I don't need to manage him, so
yeah. So if you are a VC-backed founder, this is a book that you can find value inside of it.
With that, enjoy your learning and go get that money, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.